Thank you guys for coming. I think we're really lucky here today to be here in the casino track at Casual Connect. We were just looking outside across the top grossing charts, and I think sitting here on stage, you probably got 10, 15 titles in the top 100 across these partners. So the casino space, is extremely competitive. We're sitting here in Q3, getting ready to go into Q4. And it's only getting more competitive. So the talk we had today was really around 5 forces shaping user acquisition. So we wanted to really kind of focus on 5 topics that are really impacting paid app install marketing. Before we get started and kind of move across, my name's Bryan Buskas. I'm the Chief Customer Officer at AdColony and lead our global team, which focuses on mobile video user acquisition. But across here, we've got 3 great speakers, Jeet, Scott, and Anton, who traveled from across the world to be here. So real quickly, maybe just a quick introduction,
So I'm Jeet Niyogi. I'm the marketing director at Playtika Canada. Playtika is behind such hits as Slotomania, Caesar Slots, the World Series of Poker, Bingo Blitz, and Vegas Downtown Slots. So I manage the marketing for World Series of Poker, which is based out of Montreal, Canada. And very excited to be a part of this panel and share hopefully some insights of what we do and what the trends are going to be.
Okay, I'm Scott Bauer. I'm Director of User Acquisition at GSN, or the Game Show Network. We have a handful of big social casino titles that we promote. Primarily big titles are GSN Casino, Bingo Bash. We also have some more social titles like Solitaire Tri-Peaks, Fresh Deck Poker. We've got a few titles in the works that we're excited about. I did not travel from that far away, only about 8 blocks that way, unlike these 2 guys. And yeah, that's sort of quick intro.
Hello. Thank you, Bryan. Thank you, AdColony, for having me. So my name is Anton. I'm co-founder and CEO of Murka. Our 2 most recognizable games right now is Skera Slots and Infinity Slots. We consider ourselves as a Ukrainian social casino company. So that's it.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. Like I said, we've got kind of 5 topics, and maybe we got a bonus topic if we have time. So one of the things that came up a couple weeks ago when Apple at WWDC was talking about iOS 10 and introducing paid search to the App Store. I guess the first question is really around that. Are you excited about paid search on the App Store, or scared? And what kind of opportunities does that create, for you, or challenges? So,
sure. I would say a bit of both, scared and excited at the same time. I do see it as an excellent opportunity or move by Apple to do this. Google Play has already gone into this before. I also see it, unfortunately for some people who are doing well on ASO, as a little bit of a conversion of our organic traffic into paid. But again, it democratizes. I mean, everyone can now put their ad up. So I think it's a good game changer. I only hope that Apple has some sort of a quality score or some metrics. And some probably it'll as things evolve, that could be the direction, but we do a lot of hard work on the App Store optimization, and hope to continue the good work and pay Apple a little bit of money out of that portion for ranking #1 on poker.
Yeah, I think I'll sort of reiterate what Jeet said. There's a lot of good things that Apple does. Historically, for those of us that spend a good amount of our time working on ASO or App Store search, we know that Apple does not do an amazing job at search and discovery. So that's the reason I'm a little nervous about this particular, I'll say feature, topic, whatever we want to call it. But I think there's also a lot of room for Apple to improve what they've done. I do think everybody really jumped, those who could, jumped on the Google Play version, right? The search in the Google Play Store, and has seen great results. Like Jeet mentioned, if you are good at ASO already, it's kind of frustrating when people search for a term like poker and you're #1, and then, oh wait, no, there's an ad right above you now. So there is that part of it, but I think at the end of the day, it's not anything new, especially from user acquisition. Every single channel, you get in there, you do a great job at it, and then it starts to get exploited, or people just get good at it in general. And so you got to move on and always stay on top of every new channel that comes out.
So we're definitely excited about this, because it's always good when the platform itself starts native ads. So that means that's less steps in the funnel. So also I think it's a good opportunity for newcomers, because the ASO is pretty struggling things to do. So, and I hope this will, somehow will help them to promote the new app, which can be pretty good, and it's right now pretty hard to do. So also I think they will do something with the tracking, because we'll have the installs on the platform. This means we'll have the 100% tracking, because right now, So yeah, we're excited. I think it's good news. Hope they won't, what the proper word is, do this. They will do it properly.
One thing is for sure that the people that are going to click on these, there's relevance, there's intent, so there is the quality is going to be very high because it's search related, and that's the only logical step for them to go.
So we're talking about paid user acquisition primarily today, and this is a lot about search. How do you guys think about search with paid acquisition? Is it the same teams? Is it different? Is it complementary? Or is it a totally different channel?
For us, it's all one team. I know different people have different sort of ways of structuring their teams. For us, it's one acquisition team, whether the channel is search or AdColony or any other channel. So yeah, from a team perspective, we don't split it out. I definitely see this as a similar channel to just a regular SEO or ASO, both, right? And taking advantage of it. I think one thing to touch on that Anton mentioned. Anton? Okay. Scared me for a second. Is sort of the tough part and discoverability for small new developers to really get visibility. There's been historical ways to game the charts and whatnot, but legitimate ways to really get that discovery has always been tough. So if you do have the funds now, you can get up in there and be very relevant.
In our case, it's there is a dedicated person who does App Store optimization, but there is a lot of obviously a marriage between the two, because they support each other. When you search, sometimes people even come directly, but they want to see how you rate for free poker or poker or one of these terms, and if they see you're the #1 rated, and you have strong reviews, so it helps. So it is a marriage, but we have someone who does dedicated App Store optimization for all keywords, and not just to chase the algorithms, but to make it relevant.
And we're not going to mention names because everybody in here, I'm sure, would come and want to talk to these people as well. But let's talk about licensing and IP. You guys mentioned the challenges of an indie developer. Moving into the casino space when so much of these apps are controlled by guys like Caesars and brick and mortar casinos. I'd love to hear kind of both sides. How important is having a license or a celebrity or a brand to attach to your casino and apps versus being independent, having more flexibility in playing in this space?
I can start by speaking on the branded side. It's huge. There is no denying the fact if you have a brand equity, we do benefit a lot from that. World Series of Poker, it gives you organic searches, and we have some main events during the year, and searches have increased dramatically during those periods. And also, when it gives you a good position, good leverage, even when you're dealing with your networks and partners, because partners know that you'll do better if you're a branded IP. So there is that, but there's also sometimes associations and whatnot, which probably people have prefixed in their head. But for us, it's been all positive. It's a positive association with our brand. For people, when they see World Series of Poker, they know that it's an authentic, serious yet fun, play for fun side of an authentic brand. So the mechanics are the same, the high quality that World Series of Poker is known for, and the events, they are same. We have similar tournaments, rings, you name it. So it's an absolute advantage for us to have the brand.
Yeah, I think obviously Caesars has done a great job. They've got a really well-known brand. We're, I'll say, lucky enough. We have a decently well-known brand in our TV studio, the Game Show Network. But we've also kind of taken the other opposite approach, or not opposite, another approach of licensing IP. I think it was probably a couple of years ago that somebody on our team, predates me, realized that Wheel of Fortune IP is the most well-known, most successful, valuable IP of any land-based casino IP out there. It's just, you go into any casino and you see the Wheel of Fortune slot machines. You look in the App Store, you see every social casino title. Everybody does their best to show a wheel that kind of maybe looks like a Wheel of Fortune wheel. It's got some colors and it spins. And so we've sort of taken that and we licensed the Wheel of Fortune brand years ago. And it's been really successful for us. From a user acquisition standpoint, I think there's huge value in it. Obviously it drives down the cost of acquisition. It's a known brand, it's a known entity already. People trust it, they feel safe. They're much more likely to click on it, right? It improves our click-through rates. I don't want to get into numbers, but it definitely helps. On the flip side of that, there is a cost to that, right? So I think ultimately what it does is it helps us drive some scale. It drives down the cost, but we have a cost on the other side a little bit. So it really helps us drive scale. I think that's the biggest thing for us.
Awesome. So Anton, how do you compete again? How you guys been so successful?
I can say a lot of things about the licensing IP or brands. We just started working with this, so we put two branded IP branded slots in Infinity slots, but it's just the beginning for us. I think it's a different game. So we see what Zynga doing right now with the brands. They have like the major one in the casino genre, Willy Wonka and Wizard of Oz. I think it's definitely, Wheel of Fortune is definitely number one. In a casino world, yes. So I think it definitely brings volume for your acquisition channel. Not maybe a lower CPI, but bring you just the bigger volume you can achieve. So yeah, but it's definitely achievable without this. So we can say that it's...
Yeah, one thing I'll touch on, just it is a very strong channel for user acquisition. Our ads that include Wheel of Fortune definitely perform better, but it is not anywhere near our only channel, right? Or our only way of advertising. We advertise our own internal titles, things people have never heard of. So obviously it's not required. Many companies are successful without having those licenses as well.
So let's maybe shift gears to television. I think everyone in this room probably over the last few weeks, months has seen apps advertised on television. Most recently, I think King's out there with television in the United States. Lots of brands, lots of apps being advertised on television. So maybe a two-part question. For each of you, have you run any television ads specifically for your apps? And if so, how successful, or how do you track that? How do you evaluate success of a campaign like that for trying to drive downloads of your app?
I can start. Yes, we have corporate wide. I believe Slotomania was one of our first games which had a national TV ad. But you have to understand, Playtika is a very data-driven, direct response company. But what we have done, World Series of Poker Studio, was a very strategic initiative. During our World Series of Poker main events, we showed some ads on TV during the break and tried to marry it with a promotion code or quest into the game. So drove people from TV to the game, and at the same time put some Facebook ads timed around then, and saw dramatic improvement. So it was a very focused, strategic. We knew the people, we know two things. People always watch or Facebook or do something on mobile while they're watching TV. So that marriage was made. And from the measurement perspective, it was very, rough. We as marketers, we know our baselines of organic, so we know where the boosts were. We use a third-party tracking, AppsFlyer. AppsFlyer does provide TV tracking technology. or mechanism. But in our case, it was very, grassroots level. We know our organic baseline, and did we see a jump at 9 p.m. when the show was. So that's been our foray, but we are certainly thinking of going more national TV and whatnot.
First answer, yes, we've tried it. Second answer, is it successful? Yes. How do you track it? It's really tough. So we actually have not tried it yet for our social casino titles. I know we're in a casino talk here, but we've taken a step back and tried this for our more casual title, our solitaire Tri-Peaks game first, because it's a little more broad appeal, and really gave us a sense of what the value of TV was. And the short answer for TV is that yes, it can work, but I think it really needs to be part of a bigger strategy. It's pretty clear that we drive additional traffic through these TV channels. We, just like Jeet said, we look at our organics. What do we typically get? We're right in this ballpark. Okay, we see we ran an ad at 9:04. Yes, we see a spike. Right? You can measure all of that and see the lift. It's a rough estimate. It's not perfect. We know that. We have worked also with our tracking partner, with Kochava. They've helped us there. But we do a lot of it in-house as well, just to analyze. But ultimately, what we've sort of come to the conclusion of is that TV can be successful, but you have to work other channels in at the same time. So we're focusing on a lot of additional offline channels, right, out of home. So billboard, radio, all of that stuff all at once, and sort of concentrating that. So you can look at individual markets and test it there, although it does get to be more expensive if you're trying to run TV in individual markets, especially when there's political campaigns going on and things like that, or the Olympics that compete for that space. But yes, they can be successful. You have to do it right, and you have to kind of be willing to spend some money. I don't want to say blind, but kind of throw something out there in hopes that it is successful.
Anton, any experience with television?
Nothing really to add. We didn't try TV ads yet. I hope it's a good experiment for maybe a local market like New Zealand, whatever. As a data-driven company, it's very hard to put the money in a big amount of money in the ads, and with any possibility to measure the effectiveness of each install, because it will be all organic and stuff. AppsFlyer has the possibility to track, but it has I think, not very precise tracking.
Yeah, it really is.
Right, so
The
really
other
nothing
thing
to
I'll
add.
say about TV is, when you're working with sort of a mobile video channel, plug AdColony, or others, it's a lot easier to just swap out creatives and do some testing on creatives. That is a much harder challenge on TV. Number one, from a testing standpoint, to figure out what works. So we actually end up using a mobile channel to figure out which of our creatives we think will perform best on TV. But two, just the cost, right? You tend to want to do a larger production on TV, and so you can't turn around with a quick few $1,000s to get some creative done. You can try.
It's also a huge re-engagement. When people see your ads, they come back to the game. I know the time is, we're almost close to the time, but don't just see it as UA and measurable or not, but it's huge re-engagement potential.
Awesome. So we're out of time. We talked about paid search, TV attribution, licensing, mobile video ads. We got a couple of minutes, maybe, if there's any questions in the audience for this panel.
Hey, I'm Seth with Forensic Ad Fraud Detection. So I just wanted to know, because you mentioned attribution, and I'm sorry if I missed it before, but how heavily does that weigh on you? Not so much from a tracking perspective, but from like P&L of how much are you overpaying for attribution versus what you can get away with for, kind of a more cleaner reporting on what's organic and what's not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal these days. That was something we talked about as a topic for this. And it could easily take an hour. The three of us could talk, I'm sure, for an hour about fraud and all the shady stuff that goes on in the UA world. I'll just sort of leave it at that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I can just add that the more the tracking partners provide the raw data, the better it is for internal and corporate teams to understand, and it's directly related. Big corporates are after these guys, and to get the money back in many cases. And the more we have the data behind it, the easier it is for us to do. And it's easy to identify fraud. It's not that hard. It's the question is, when will this stop, or what you do with it, and the agreement and the legal part.
So fraud was actually our sixth topic we were going to talk about, so now we covered it. One last question we have time for, perhaps?
Do you guys want to go more in depth into that fraud topic, or do you?
Yeah, so maybe one question on fraud. We've got a lot of indie developers and stuff too. We talked a little bit on our prep calls, like, what do you look out for? How do you combat it? And then how do you address it? What do you do about it? So, any tips, short kind of tips you guys have about how to, work across app install fraud?
So very quickly, when there are some alerts that you can put in place when you see the raw data of where it is coming from, how often, if it's the same IP address, same city, same country, same geo, you put an alert. Like there are tons of examples of what people can look into and predict. And once you predict, you reach out to your partner. And obviously then it becomes, partners have been very cooperative about it. And I don't know why I pointed at you, because nothing ever came at it. Yeah, partners have been very good about it, and they realize they're trying to combat it too, as we are. But I think the next step is to make sure it doesn't even get into the system by having some stoppage as soon as one or two get in, raising the alert, and the campaign from it's automatically stopped. And I think the third-party tracking partners can do a lot in that area. The companies can obviously build out a lot of within their data science team or data systems alerts to avoid these. So that's what our process.
Your tips, Anton, Scott?
Sure.
All right. So become worse. So it's tricky topic, really. It can be on the one side they can, your partners at AdColony, they can send you just the cheat traffic. It will be incentive or whatever. On the other hand, we had issue recently. So one partner promotes scatter slots as a real money app, as an app where you can win real money, like hundreds of thousands, and definitely user react differently on this. And we still in the conversation with this partner. They try to deny everything, but yeah, this is also the fraud, and how you can detect it. So you can measure the health KPI, you can measure the number of spins, number of session, retention, whatever, but how you can measure when some partner send you fraud from the beginning, and the users, they behave pretty the same as organic users, but at the end of the day we started receiving customer support tickets, like, where is my money, where is jackpot, I want Ferrari and Lamborghini and so on. So I think it's the good time to start maybe business in fraud detection.
From the network side, I think, there's been a lot of pressures towards transparency, towards granularity of the data to be able to identify these irregularities.
Ultimately, for the most part, what we've seen is the networks are not the problem, right? It's one level or two levels beyond that, right? The affiliates, the publishers that are trying to do shady stuff, trying to stay one step ahead. The tracking partners are definitely doing their part to start to mitigate some of the stuff that's more simple, where you can just put something in place that looks for odd patterns, and you just instantly stop sending that traffic, or letting them know that those installs are happening. Again, a plug for our tracking partner, Kochava, has helped us with that, where we, for channels where we're paying CPI, we can actually disable the postback so that networks don't even know that install occurred if it meets certain parameters that we feel are fraudulent. And the next thing I'll say, or the last thing I'll say that's really critical from, especially if you're a small developer, is make sure you get terms in your contracts, in your IOs that cover you, right? The minute and make sure you don't prepay. That goes without saying ever, but just don't ever do that, because the minute that money is out of your account, you're never going to get it back. You're going to try and fight forever to try and get back, whether it's a few $1,000s or a few $100,000. So make sure you have the terms in your IOs to try and avoid some of that. Yeah, you'll get back credit, so you can spend more with a fraudulent.
Awesome.
All right, I think that's.
We'll leave it at that, guys. Now, please join me in thanking these three guys for